Hey all, Altarian here with another video review and comparison. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new 2015 Diamond Select Toys re-release of the Enterprise A, and we are going to be comparing it to the Diamond Select Toys Wrath of Khan Enterprise. This particular Wrath of Khan Enterprise is one of the original runs. It came out in either 2007 or 2008. And like I said, we're going to be comparing it to this one just to see the differences between the two. The biggest difference, and we're going to start off with this, is the plastic used on both ships. The Wrath of Khan Enterprise has always used pearlescent plastic to give it the shiny look that it had in the motion picture, and to a lesser extent in the Wrath of Khan. Whereas the Enterprise A, they just used a normal plastic on this one, so it doesn't have that same pearlescent effect. And it does look more accurate to how it looked in 4, 5, and 6, where it was featured. So the big issue with the pearlescent plastic, and the big issue overall with the Wrath of Khan Enterprise that's always had with every reissue and everything DST has done, is it has really bad light bleed, and the plastic itself is translucent. Now the light bleed is a pretty big issue, but it only affects the ship when the lights are on. I mean, most of the time I display these ships off, so the light bleed to me isn't as big of a deal as the plastic itself being translucent. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So if you have this Wrath of Khan Enterprise displayed somewhere where there's light shining on it or something, you get kind of this effect that the saucer glows. And it's not just the saucer, but the saucer is where it's most notable. Everywhere else on the ship has the same issue, but like I said, the saucer is where you notice it the most. Now the Enterprise A, since they used a normal plastic on it, you don't get that same effect. The ship looks great regardless of where it's displayed, whether the lights are on or not. The ship looks really good. It doesn't have that translucent, see-through, glowing effect anymore, which is great. They did a great job on the plastic on the Enterprise A. I do like it quite a bit. They did a good job there. Next, we're going to look at the actual paint jobs on the two ships. There's not as many differences between them as I would have expected. There's some subtle ones, like you can see here on the bridges. The Wrath of Khan Enterprise seems to have a lot more detail on the bridge itself. And if you look at these red lines on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise, they're a bit more even. Obviously you can see on the front it's a separate paint app to it because it doesn't line up perfectly, but it makes it look more even around the bridge, whereas on the Enterprise A, it's kind of uneven up in the front here, and it looks like it's just all one red line. It doesn't look like it's separate pieces at all. The next big difference is on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise, you have these bluish circles going around, and on the Enterprise A, they are just red circles going around. That's like I said, it's not that big of a deal. Where the Impulse Dome on the top, the Wrath of Khan, again, has more details on the dome itself. Whereas the Enterprise A is just a black dome. There's no real details to it whatsoever. Along the rims of the saucer, they're also different. This is not the stand this ship comes with. This is my old Enterprise B stand that I had that works with this ship, and I like it a lot more. That's another thing I wish DST would have done, is given the Enterprise A this stand instead, because it's more accurate to what it should have. Along the rim of the saucer, if it'll focus on this, the Wrath of Khan Enterprise has black windows that are pretty clean, and it does have these sensor lines. I think in the more recent versions of this ship, the sensor lines are better. And of course on the sides, it does have USS Enterprise. If I can get this to focus. Come on. I can't. There we go. So it does have USS Enterprise, United Federation of Planets, and all that on the side. Not very focused, but it's the best it'll probably do with this camera. On the Enterprise A, it doesn't really have those sensor lines. Come on. Maybe. Oh, you're making me mad. Just focus on the damn fucking rims. How about we use the thruster? Thruster? Okay, you don't want to focus for some reason. So we'll zoom out a bit. You can see it has white windows, and there are not any painted on sensor lines on the Enterprise A, and the windows themselves are pretty sloppily painted on here, and it's not just on the rim of the saucer that the windows are painted on sloppily. It's pretty much everywhere on the ship itself, and you can kind of see it the best here how sloppy those windows are painted on. I guess that's an issue that the most recent version of the Wrath of Khan Enterprise has had, where the black windows are sloppy. Like I said, it's nice that it's white windows because it's not as noticeable with white windows, so it's not that big of a deal to me personally that the windows are sloppy, because since they're white, you don't really notice them. We're going to take a look at the bottoms of the saucers and see how they differ. I mean, the biggest differences in paint on these ships is they use different shades of blue. Here's the bottom of the 1701. Like I said, you have these 4 panels that are painted a greenish blue color, whereas on the Enterprise A, they are painted more of just a straight light blue. They both have the Enterprise logos on the bottom. The necks are pretty much the same, again, just a different shade of blue. And then we have this whole detail. I'm going to show it on the top too. This is a little different looking. It's more blue, and you can see there's more of a contrast in the colors on the Enterprise A, versus the Wrath of Khan Enterprise doesn't have as big of a contrast. And then, of course, you can see the front of the nacelles in the back there, a different shade of blue. And I'm going to flip them around.
I don't like to lose.
Oh, there you go. Let's see if you do the same thing. You do not. Excellent. So here's the backs of the ship. Again, they're pretty much the same paint-wise from the bottom. They're just different shades of blue. So we'll flip them back over here, and we'll take a look at the secondary hull. So I think this is called the Strongback. Is that what this is called? I don't really know what it's called, but you can see the differences here. The Enterprise, Wrath of Khan Enterprise, has this in a greenish blue, it's like on the bottom. The neck has this black part painted on, and then the red line here that's on the neck extends to the back. On the Enterprise A, again, it's just more of a normal blue color. There's a little bit more contrast. It doesn't have this bit painted black, and the red line does not extend around the back. The pylons themselves are pretty much the same, just again, different shade of blue. And then the shuttle bays on the 2 ships are also a bit different. The Wrath of Khan Enterprise does not have painted shuttle bay doors along the edges. They're painted all the way pretty much down, and then there's the black line with the yellow there. The Enterprise A, on the other hand, has painted shuttle bay doors. The bits on the sides aren't as long, and it has Enterprise written along the bottom there. And I do have a bit of paint issues, a little bit of blue on there. And same thing on the bottom of the Enterprise A, there's a bit of silver blob right there. Let's take a look at the necks themselves, because there is a bit of difference in the paint on the neck. This one doesn't stand very well like this one. I have it bent, so I'm just going to show them separately. You can see the details on the neck here, with this line going up it. It's a bit different. Don't fall over, please. I would greatly appreciate it if you did not fall over. Versus the Wrath of Khan Enterprise, there's nothing on there really. It's just pretty plain. You can see that there. The deflectors are a bit different. The torpedo launchers are virtually the same. I don't know how well this is going to come across on camera. The torpedo launchers are the same. The deflector on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise is just black. Whereas on the Enterprise A, I don't know if I can get it to show up. Maybe with you? You can see that it's got a blue tint to it. It's a dark navy blue color, which is nice. I was really hoping it had a blue color to it, so that when the lights are off, it actually shows that it's blue instead of just flat black. So I'm pretty happy that they did that with the Enterprise A. Those are really the biggest differences. The nacelles, there are some slight differences between the 2. I'm just going to... That's not going to work. So on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise, the nacelles are just the black color on the outside. And then they have the bluish color in here. It's not as vibrant on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise as it is on the Enterprise A. You can see on this one, the outside is more of a gray color. And then the inside has it's a brighter blue, so it's more obvious that that's blue on the Enterprise A, which again, I do like, because I like that it shows that the inside is a different color than the outside when the lights are not on. But that's pretty much it paint-wise. They're not that different, really, if you look at them. There's some slight differences in color and the shade of blue that they use, but overall, they're really not that different paint-wise, which is understandable because this is a Constitution class just like this one is. So the paint job is different enough that it's a different ship, and I do like it quite a bit. So thumbs up for plastic, thumbs up for the paint job on it. The little minor flaws, I guess I didn't really show you the windows on the secondary hull. You can see the windows. It's not being locked there. Focus other places. There we go. The windows are kind of sloppy. I have this little blob here. I don't know what this is. But the window paint jobs on this ship are kind of sloppy. Look at the other side. So that's kind of a negative, but it's not as big of a deal. I'm going to go over the flaws this ship has in a minute here. I just want to cover the basics, because my version of the Enterprise A does have some pretty bad flaws to it. I don't know if you've seen them or not here, but we'll get to those in a little bit. So that's the paint job. We're going to go on to the lights and the sounds. I'm going to talk about them separately, but I'm going to show them together. I'm going to turn the lights off. I'm going to do a run through with lights on and lights off so you can kind of see them. The Wrath of Khan Enterprise is going to go first. This one's easy because you have to hold the button down.
I don't like to lose.
So we have light bleed coming from there. And the cells have some... It's harder to see on this one. Like I said, we'll run when it's on, the light's off as well. Deflector dish. There's a bit of light bleed on the deflector dish on the ship. And of course there.
Phasers on target and with my command.
Time is a luxury you don't have.
Captain Spock.
And you might notice on my Wrath of Khan Enterprise, this nacelle is a bastard.
I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
Since these nacelles come off, this one has to be like perfectly aligned for the lights on it to actually work, which is annoying.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee.
Alright, that's it. So we're going to do another run with the Wrath of Khan with the lights off so you can see the light bleed a bit better. This nacelle, the left nacelle might not work, so just deal with it.
I don't like to lose.
So you can see the nacelles have some pretty bad light bleed on them when it does them again. You can see that. Now the deflector, you can see if there's some light bleed coming from the deflector. It's not too bad. I've seen in more recent releases that the deflector light bleed is worse. So this isn't too bad.
Phasers on target and with my command.
And pulse deck pretty much all glows.
Time is a luxury you don't have.
But the bridge is clear. There's no light bleed really coming from the bridge, which is nice.
I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee.
Alright, so that's it for that. So now we're going to look at the A. The A, I have the luxury of being able to do the lights and the sound separately. So we're going to do the lights first because it does have a 10-second lights on feature. So when I got this ship, when I was hearing about it and reading about it and whatnot, I had figured they would be able to fix the light bleed that the Wrath of Khan Enterprise has always had. Not only because it's going to be using a different plastic, but because they were treating this ship like a new ship. So I figured Diamond Select would work on fixing the major issue, which was light bleed. Unfortunately, they didn't, so we'll take a look at that. You can see the impulse deck is pretty bad. It looks like even the paint is sloppy on it. But it has a blue crystal on the top, which is nice, but it does glow pretty badly. Same thing with the bridge. The bridge actually has light bleed on it, which is annoying because this bridge is not supposed to light up. That could have something to do with the fact that they are now using LEDs in this version, whereas the original Enterprise A, which did not have any light bleed, by the way. The original A was using rice bulbs. The nacelles actually have worse light bleed. Like you can see the light coming through the outside part of the nacelle. Sorry for the cut there, I ran out of storage so I had to get that emptied out. So we were talking about the light bleed on the nacelles. Like I said, you can actually see it coming through on the outside of the nacelles, which is annoying. It does look better on the inside, kind of. It looks like more of the nacelles are kind of lit up. Again, they use LEDs, so I don't know if that's why it's so much worse. But you think they would have compensated by trying to black out the insides of the nacelles or something to make it not bleed through. And the deflector let's say with the deflector. The deflector actually doesn't have any light bleed. They did a good job on the deflector dish. There's no light bleed bleeding through for that. You'll see it better probably in the dark here, but there is still a little bit of light bleed up there at the top. It's not as bad as on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise. So in some places it is better, but it, for the most part, has the same light bleed issues that the Wrath of Khan Enterprise had. So like I said, I'm turning the lights off here. We'll take a look at the light bleed in the dark, where it'll stand out more. So here we can see, like I said, that impulse deck is really bad. The nacelles have some really bad light bleed coming from them, especially from the outside. It practically looks like they're lit on both sides. But again, the deflector, there is no light bleed coming out of the deflector, so that is an improvement. It's pretty much the only improvement. Otherwise, I would actually say that the light bleed is worse on the nacelles and on the impulse deck on this ship than it is on the Wrath of Khan ship, which is pretty sad since they could have blacked out the inside of the Enterprise A and it wouldn't have been noticeable on this ship, whereas the Wrath of Khan Enterprise, with the plastic being kind of translucent, if they blacked out the interior of it, it would look kind of funny. But they could have done that with the A, no problem, and that probably would have fixed all of the light bleed issues, but they didn't. They just shipped it with really bad light bleed issues for some reason. So the lights on this ship are bad. I would give that definitely a negative for light bleed. The sounds on it, we're going to go through the sounds here so you can hear those. And we'll do it again in the dark so you can see the lights and everything.
My friends, we've come home. What's the matter, Jim? I miss my old chair. Engine room, we'll need all the power you can muster, mister.
Kind of like on their newer ships, these LEDs are super bright.
Let's see what she's got.
Just like on Excelsior where the LEDs are super bright. Which is a good thing and a bad thing, since obviously the ship had light bleed. I'm sure those really bright LEDs did not help the light bleed at all.
Kirk to Scotty, lower shields. As captain, I am responsible for the conduct of the crew under my command.
Send to Commander Enterprise. Miss Jen ready to assist you. Captain Sulu, USS Excelsior.
One thing I almost forgot to mention is the impulse engines are not red, they are clear for some reason.
Spock, Starfleet is screaming for us to return to port.
We must respond personally. A universal conflict that will be recognized.
War Penseta!
Captain! She's packing quite a wallop! Shield weakening!
Same sound as the Wrath of Khan Enterprise.
Where's that damn torpedo? He's ready, Jim! Lock and load! Fire! Once again, we've saved civilization as we know it. If I were human, I believe my response would be go to hell. Second star to the right, then straight on till morning.
And that's pretty much it. Almost forgot about the second warp effect. And then of course we have the secret sound.
USS Enterprise, shakedown cruise report. I think this new ship was put together by monkeys.
That's the secret sound. One thing I don't really understand is why they put a Sulu quote on this ship. I know he talks about the Enterprise, but he wasn't on the Enterprise. And they didn't put the quote, Kirk's final log in there about how the Enterprise is going to come under the care of a new crew or whatever. I wish that one was on here from the end of Star Trek VI. I mean, they could have used that one as the secret sound and put the Built by Monkeys sound in place of Sulu's. I think I would have liked that a little bit better, but that's just my personal opinion on it. The sounds do sound really good. They are nice and loud. They're nice and clear. Some of them sound a bit off, like they're a little deeper than they should be, like maybe they were slowed down or something, but it's not too noticeable, and that's pretty much all there is to say about the sound. The sounds are pretty good. I'm happy with the sounds, so that's a thumbs up. For the most part, overall, the ship is pretty good. I am pretty happy with it. I do think it is, for the most part, an improvement over the Wrath of Khan Enterprise, but it's definitely not an improvement over the original Enterprise A from 12 years ago. So I did say I had issues with this ship. We're going to look at, like I said, I already mentioned the paint issues. I do have some panels on the top that are kind of popping up a little bit. It's not super noticeable, but you can see that they are. If it would focus on them, that would be fantastic. They are popping up a little bit. You do see it a little bit here. There's a little bit of paint going on the top there. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Not really. On the bottom, right here by the neck, there's a ton of excess glue. Again, it's not something that's super noticeable, so it doesn't really bother me too much. What really bothers me about this Enterprise A, and what's actually prompting me to either return this specific one or exchange it, I don't know if, like I said, if you've noticed or not, but these nacelles, they are really wonky. Especially this one is really turned in. Like, you can kind of see it. I'm looking straight down at it. These are supposed to be straight. Like on this one.
I don't like to lose.
Shut up. These nacelles are perfectly straight. These ones are not perfectly straight. These are really wonky. And I know I posted a picture on the forum of this. Back here is super bad. This is tilted up a little bit. It's not fully on there. And there's a ton of excess glue and paint on the top here, which is really bad. But except that even that alone wouldn't prompt me to return it. It's these nacelles being crooked and not straight. Like this one even looks curved a little bit. That's what's making me want to return the ship and get a different one, is because they are not straight. Like they're not even at all, and you can see that here. That's the big issue I have with this, is that this ship just does not have even nacelles, and it's really noticeable. And I don't like, I'm trying to get a good shot. Like you can see that these nacelles are not straight or even at all. I don't know how widespread of an issue that is, if it's just mine or a few that are going to have that problem, but it's definitely a major issue that needs to be fixed. Disregarding that, if this ship had straight nacelles and it only had these other minor paint issues, and the back of this nacelle was actually correct, I would say this ship is definitely worth the money. I do like it quite a bit. I think it does look like the Enterprise A did in the movie. It could be better. They could have done more detail on the bridge, like on the Wrath of Khan Enterprise. They could have made the impulse deck a little bit more detailed. But overall, for the most part, it is a pretty nice ship. I am pretty happy with it. Hopefully, if I do exchange this and get a different one, hopefully the new one won't have the same nacelle issues that this one does. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. If I get a new Enterprise A and it is an improvement, I'll post a short video of that. This one actually turned out a lot longer than I expected it to be. But I hope you liked it, hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching.